All signs point to the Chicago Bulls needing to get more serious on the defensive end of the floor and also player development this season. This is your host, Rico Greenhowe, and you have found yourself on another episode of Bulls Digest. And so we are going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls and their struggle on the defensive end of the floor, along with, I think, their lack of a plan for player development here. And so let's start off with this defense, because defense was certainly an option for this team last night against the Utah Jazz. This Utah Jazz team was coming in dead last in the NBA, only averaging 99 points, and they scored 135 points on the Chicago Bulls. And so let's go ahead and jump into what Vuce had to say about this defensive performance for this team last night. And so here's what Vuce had to say about the defense, talking about the lack of consistency. And I love what he says at the end of his quote with the physicality and the execution. And so I think that that has really been apparent for the Chicago Bulls. And I feel like, to me, this team is so focused on going out and getting up as many shots as possible and really scoring a lot of points, but they do not play with that same type of energy, that same type of enthusiasm on the defensive end. And that is something that this team can absolutely control, because this is not just talking about just strategy here on the defensive end. A lot of these defensive lapses just really came from effort, and I think that that is something that you have got to have in any game if you're looking to win it. I don't care how well you're playing on the offensive end, your defense has always got to have that energy, and it's something that has to travel with you no matter what. And so as we push forward and we look a little bit more into the details and we look at the numbers here with the Chicago Bulls and just how bad they have been on the defensive end, you see right there that they are 28th in opponent fast break points allowed. That means that they are giving up a lot of points on the fast break. At this point in time, they're giving up 18.1 fast break points a game. Only the Lakers are giving up more. And then also, too, as far as the most points in the paint allowed, look, 56.9 points per game, which is ranking 30th overall. And then lastly, we are not doing a great job as far as generating points in the paint ourselves. We're 28th in percentage of points scored in the paint at 36.3. And on top of that, we're 25th at only 41.7 points in the paint. And so that goes into a lot of what we're hearing during the broadcast when you hear Stacey King say, hey, get the ball into Vuce, get it to him. He's in these mismatch situations. There's countless times where I get we're trying to play fast and we're not making some of these shots from the three-point line. There is opportunities where we can go ahead, we can get it down to Vuce and let Vuce go to work, and then we can cut off of Vuce and get easy layups. But a lot of times we are going and we are rushing shots, and that is hurting us. That is allowing teams to get the rebound, and then they're running down and scoring on fast break opportunities, or they're getting themselves into better opportunities on the offensive end. And so, in a lot of ways, like, we've definitely struggled on the defensive end, but we're definitely not helping ourselves out by missing a lot of these bunnies and things like that in the paint. And so, this just really shows you that the Chicago Bulls are really a team that has to clean up a lot, even though that it has been exciting. But, again, it's just some things that just have to get fixed as this team continues on this season. And I think that these are the type of things that you fix, not just for this season, but for the long term with this team, because I don't know how many times I hear just the word identity around this team, and this team really doesn't have an identity. And you see it with numbers like this. They just pick and choose, how they're going to play every night on the defensive end. And also, too, the offensive end is just inconsistent basketball, which has been extremely frustrating. And this goes back into what Billy Donovan was talking about going into the season, where he says, look, for our team, we're not not going to be the biggest. We're not going to be the strongest, the most physical, but we're going to be in elite shape. And I would add that you need to have elite effort as well, because look, if you're going to put up all these shots, you're going to, definitely run a team out of the gym, then you're going to need to run that team out of the gym defensively as well. And Billy Donovan has said it. He said, look, there is no Alex Caruso out there. We don't have Javonte Green. Patrick Williams, he is not, just an elite lockdown defender. We know what we get with Ayo Dosunmu, but this is going to be really a team concept on a night-to-night basis, and you have got to really dig in and want to defend. That's something that you have to want to do. I remember Marcus Smart talking about defense and just being a really good defender comes down to just really wanting to go out there and really be a good defender. And so when we look back at the numbers with the Chicago Bulls, these are some of the box score numbers. You see that Utah pretty much got anything that they wanted to. And this is something that the Chicago Bulls have absolutely got to clean up. And I think, again, it just comes down to effort, and it's something that the Chicago Bulls can control. And lastly, as we look a little bit more into the numbers and just look here at the bottom where it's talking about, getting Josh Giddey, talking about working with Zach LaVine, the injuries that have occurred with Lonzo Ball, and just really trying to figure this roster out. That goes into player development. I think that, we've been inconsistent on the floor, but we've also been inconsistent, I think, from a player development standpoint, because when you look at Modest Buzelis and you look at this situation where he's only getting 5 minutes a game, again, I'll say it again. This is a team that is not going to contend for an NBA championship. It is not a team that literally is going to make a whole bunch of noise, I think, in the playoffs, even if it qualifies. And you have to find out what you have with your younger players. And so I'm not worried about Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, because I think that they figured it out and they continue to figure it out as they get different roles on this team. I think with Julian Phillips and Dalen Terry, I think that we're seeing that they're showing flashes of figuring it out. But I think for them to take the next step, Billy Donovan is going to have to make some tough decisions now and say, okay, look, I'm not getting everything that I need from Patrick Williams. Perhaps it's time for me to push Julian Phillips up into the starting lineup and see what he can do. And then also too, with Dalen Terry, depending on where you want to play him at, now you have to start to think about the usage rate for some of your players. And I know that Vooch is off to an incredible start, and Zach LaVine is playing well when he's out there, but at some point, what is your true direction for this team? Because are they going to be a part of your long-term build? Then fine. But if they're not, and a player like Dalen Terry has been showing signs, the only way he's going to get better is to get him minutes. And the same with Modest Buzelis. I get it. Give him G League minutes, let him go down there and dominate. But at some point, you're going to need to get him out there to get used to that physicality and to learn how to become a better offensive player out there. And so you have to play those players, because we still have a lot of questions now, because we're not getting any true questions answered about Sanogo. We don't know what they want to do with EJ Liddell. We really don't know what's going on with Modest Buzelis and how this is going to pan out. And so this is where I think the Chicago Bulls, much like their defense, they have got to get serious and seriously start to put some effort into both of these if they're going to turn it around for the long term. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about the Chicago Bulls as they get ready to go into a tough stretch of games against the Timberwolves and then also to the Mavericks. What is your biggest takeaway with this team as far as the lapses on the defensive end? And also too, what is your biggest takeaway with the player development right now? Do you believe that this front office is going to make the right decision, or are they just literally going to find a way to continue to keep running it back? Love to hear what you think in the comments. So I want to thank everybody out there for liking, subscribing, and sharing the videos. It means a lot to us here at Bulls Digest as we try to reach 5,000 subscribers before the end of the NBA season out there. Just want to let you know about 64.2% of you that watch are not subscribed, so make sure that you go ahead, slam dunk on that subscribe button for us, as it means a lot as we try to reach that goal. And so look, even though the Chicago Bulls are headed into a very tough stretch, and at the end of the day, they're saying all the right things that they need to do on the defensive end, and we're hearing all the right things from Billy Donovan and player development. At some point, you have to do those things out there. And so, look, it looks tough, but I'm still saying go Bulls, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.